Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey are under criminal investigation by the DOJ for alleged criminal conspiracy to impede federal immigration agents. It's a federal crime, Title 18 of the United States Code, Section 372. Apparently, grand jury subpoenas have been issued for both Walz and Frey. Liberal media reported on their initial statements in which they react to the reports that they're under criminal investigation.
Frey's office tells us they've heard rumors, but have not received formal notice from DOJ on the matter. Just minutes ago, Governor Walz released this statement, quote, 2 days ago, it was Elissa Slotkin. Last week, it was Jerome Powell. Before that, Mark Kelly. Weaponizing the justice system and threatening political opponents is a dangerous authoritarian tactic. The only person not being investigated for the shooting of Renee Good is the federal agent who shot her.
So that report indicates Frey and Walz are reacting very differently. Now, Frey emphasized he hasn't received formal notice from the DOJ, so there's no target letter yet, which would be a strong indication of an impending indictment, and maybe he's not convinced he's a target yet. Now, the media is reporting that Walz and Frey are being investigated criminally, however, and a tweet from the U.S. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche seems to bolster the media report. He says, Walz and Frey, I'm focused on stopping you from your terrorism by whatever means necessary. This is not a threat, it's a promise. Now, Walz is reacting combatively with a statement suggesting he's the victim of an autocratic dictatorship. He's previously made outrageous statements to fan the flames against ICE, distorting the actions of ICE officers, grotesquely distorting their actions and falsely portraying them as acting without authority. Now, let's listen to how he characterized the death of Renee Good, the activist who was shot and killed in a pointless confrontation with ICE.
Let's be very, very clear. This long ago stopped being a matter of immigration enforcement. Instead, it's a campaign of organized brutality against the people of Minnesota by our own federal government. Last week, that campaign claimed the life of Renee Good. We've all watched the video. We've all seen what happened. And yet, instead of conducting an impartial investigation so we can hold accountable the officer responsible for Renee's death, the Trump administration is devoting the full power of the federal government to finding an excuse to attack the victim and her family.
Now, he referred to the immigration enforcement actions in Minnesota as, quote unquote, a campaign of organized brutality against the people of Minnesota by our own federal government. Then he says that the organized brutality claimed the life of Renee Good. No. She died because she struck an ICE officer with her car, and he might have died if he hadn't used his firearm. And contrary to what Walz says, there is an ongoing investigation which is being conducted by the FBI. Nor is the federal government blaming the victim and her family, as he claims. Many people are calling out their actions because we've all watched the numerous videos of the incident, and what happened was so pointless. Renee Good's father-in-law has said she made bad choices and should not have been where she was. Let's watch.
You know, like I said, it's just a hard situation for everybody. Becca, she's a great person as well. I mean, I don't have any many enemies. I love everybody, and that's what the Bible tells us: love our neighbors as we love ourselves. But I think there's some bad choices, and the word says, "For the wrath of God will come upon the children of disobedience." And it's I don't blame ICE, I don't blame Rebecca, I don't blame Renee. I just wish that if we're walking the Spirit of God, I don't think she would have been there.
Renee Good had parked her car across a residential street to obstruct ICE while they were conducting enforcement. And she had also leaned on her horn for 3 minutes to get their attention or to cause annoyance. Who knows what she was thinking? Walz's statement, which he also put in a tweet, mentions Elissa Slotkin, Jerome Powell, and Mark Kelly. Now, Slotkin is a senator from Michigan. She appeared in the illegal orders video along with 5 other Democrat members of Congress. War Secretary Pete Hegseth calls them the Seditious Six. They urged members of the U.S. military and intelligence services to quote-unquote refuse illegal orders, which they're supposed to do anyway, so it raises the question of which orders they claim are illegal. All of them are under criminal investigation now, maybe with the exception of Mark Kelly. He was censured administratively, and the War Department is pursuing administrative remedies to reduce Kelly's rank and retirement pay. Kelly just filed a lawsuit to stop that process. Now, initially, Kelly denied that the Seditious Six were referring to any orders in particular, but in the lawsuit he just filed, he mentions President Trump's deployments of the National Guard and the drug boat strikes in the Caribbean. So, he's changed his story. Now, the lawsuit seems to be an admission that the Seditious Six were trying to convince the military and intelligence services to join their resistance or to cause confusion among active duty service members during these critical operations. It could have caused casualties if they had succeeded in convincing anyone to follow their false command. Now, they even say in the video, "We have your back."
Your vigilance is critical.
And know that we have your back.
But it seems inconceivable that anyone would submit to their false authority. Now, there was a Senate hearing this month in which military generals, Donovan and Rudd, testified that they never received an illegal order in their decades of military service, and that includes the Trump years. Now, going back to Walz's tweet, he also mentions Jerome Powell. He's chairman of the Federal Reserve. The DOJ opened a criminal probe of the Fed, and Powell says it's retaliation because he won't reduce interest rates. But the criminal investigation involves the Fed's $2.5 billion renovation project, which includes VIP amenities. Now, the allegations are that Powell lied about the lavish renovations during his testimony before the Senate Banking Committee in June of 2025. Now, Powell can argue that there's a pretext for the investigation, but if he lied about the renovations, which are costing the taxpayers $2.5 billion, he has no defense. Because what? Is he saying he should get away with lying about lavish renovations during his sworn testimony to the committee just because he alleged that there's a pretext? Should he get away with cheating the taxpayers? Outrageous. Now let's watch Jacob Frey speaking about the ICE presence in Minneapolis.
There are countless more people that are undocumented in Florida and Texas and Utah. Why are they in these much smaller cities in the middle of the Midwest? The answer is very clear. It is politics. Florida and Texas and Utah are Republican states. The reason that Minnesota and Minneapolis are being targeted is because you've got a Democratic governor, a Democratic attorney general, and you got Democratic mayors.
So right away, we understand he's misinformed. ICE has been surging in Florida since 2024 and in Texas and Utah since 2025, last year. It's no surprise that Democrat-led states and cities, all sanctuary jurisdictions, are complaining about the ICE surge. Republican-led states don't have a problem and are thankful for ICE. And to conclude, I just wanted to discuss the background of Section 372, the statute making it a crime to conspire to impede federal officers. Now, according to this memo, which was written in 1977 for the U.S. Attorney General at the time, Section 372 was enacted in 1861 and was expanded after the Civil War to enforce the 14th Amendment and to end Ku Klux Klan terrorism. Now, the 14th Amendment was the post-Civil War constitutional amendment that forms the basis of American civil rights. Section 372 was, quote-unquote, designed to protect federal officers by providing for federal prosecution whenever they were injured because of or in the course of their duties, unquote. So, an impressive history. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, leave a like and don't forget to subscribe.